Shalom, Israel. Come to let Israel know it's going to be a gathering of our people soon, but we must come back to his laws, statutes, and commandments. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 30, verses 1 through 3. And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessings and the curses which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations, whether Yahuwah thou Elohim hath driven thee, and shall return unto Yahuwah thou Elohim, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children with all thine heart and with all thy soul, that then Yahuwah thy Elohim will return thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all nations, whether Yahuwah thou Elohim hath scattered thee. The Lord is preparing to gather us back, but we must come back to his commandments. He said, and it shall come to pass, all these things shall come upon thee, the blessings and the curses which I have set upon thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations. So we must be calling these curses and blessings to mind among the nations where we've been scattered. Then Yahuwah will bring us back. But we must remember what happened to us and how we fell. The commandments is the reason why we in the situation we in. We was disobedient to our Elohim. So we must come back to his laws, statutes, and commandments that we may understand. And he say, and shall return unto Yahuwah thy Elohim, and shall obey his voice. So we must return and obey. Obey these commandments that he gave Moses. We must come back to it. Obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children. So we must teach our children diligently these commandments. First, we must learn them and put them in our mind and our understandings, and make it benefit to our family. We must come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments, because this is the reason we are in the land of our enemy, because of our disobedience. He say that then Yahuwah thy Elohim will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee. You see, he's going to gather us back to our land, but we must come back to his laws, statutes, and commandments. Let's go to Joel 3. Let's read Joel 3. Joel 3, chapter 1, just one verse. It say, Joel chapter 3, verse 1. For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem. He said he's going to bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem. He's going to bring all of us back to our land. All of us going to come back to our land. If we do what we're supposed to, meaning keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments. We must do this, that we may go to our El, that he may want to be an arm around us and be our shield and our strength. We must come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments, that he may reconcile and bring us back to our land. Leviticus. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 26, verse 40. If they shall confess their iniquity and the iniquities of their father with all their trespass which they trespass against me, that also they have walked contrary unto me, and that I also have walked contrary unto them, and have brought them into the land of their enemies. If then their uncircumcised heart be humbled, and they then accept of the punishment of their iniquity, then will I remember my covenant with Jacob, and also my covenant with Isaac, and also my covenant with Abraham will I remember, and I will remember the land. He said, if we come back to his laws, statutes, and commandments, he said, if they shall confess their iniquities and the iniquities of their fathers. So we must confess our iniquities and iniquities of our fathers, praying for ourselves and our fathers and our families. We must pray this way. We just can't ask for forgiveness of ourselves. We got to ask for what our forefathers done. He said, if they shall confess their iniquities and the iniquities of their fathers. We must confess, because our fathers transgressed, and we are in the situations that we in because we still transgression. With their trespass which they have trespassed against me, so we trespassed against our El. We went against Yahuwah and his commandments and all his statutes. And still today we going against them, because we're in the land of our captivity, not knowing who we are. We took on the customs of the land. and that also they have walked contrary to me. He said we walk contrary to him. He said he was going to punish us if we walk contrary to him. He said, and that I also have walked contrary unto them, and have brought them into the land of their enemies. He brought us into this land because of our disobedience. We refuse to do what our El tell us to do. We would rather, Father, the people of the land do their laws, their customs, their traditions, instead of the ones that was given to us. He say, and that I also have walked contrary unto them, and have brought them into the land of their enemies. If then their uncircumcised heart be humbled, and they then accept of the punishment of their iniquity, we must humble ourselves and accept the punishment that we are going through. So now we must remember our past so we can correct it and come back to our laws, statutes, and commandments that our Elohim have given Moses to give us. So we must come back to his laws, statutes, and commandments. Then he will remember. He said, then will I remember the covenant with Jacob, and also my covenant with Isaac, and also my covenant with Abraham will I remember, and I will remember the land. He want to gather us, but we must prepare ourselves. Come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments. Come back to being obedient. And he say, I'm going to jump down to 44, Leviticus 26:44. And yet for all that, when they be in the land of their enemy, I will not cast them away, neither will I abhor them to destroy them utterly, and to break my covenant with them, for I am Yahuwah their El. He say, and yet for all this, meaning our sin, when they be in the land of their enemies, I will not cast them away. He's not going to cast us away. He made the covenant with our forefathers. He don't break covenants. We breaking the covenant. He's not going to break the covenant. So every word that proceed out of his mouth shall not come back void. Yahuwah said, you must keep my laws, statutes, and commandments. If not, I put blessings and curses upon you. We must understand now, accept the punishment, and pray for ourselves and for our forefathers, that we may return to our Father with a whole heart, that we may love our brothers, stop treating our brothers unfair, stop treating our wives unfair, teach our children how to come up in the law, statutes, and commandments, but we ourselves must keep them. We can't expect nobody else to keep them if we're not going to do them. He said he will remember the land. Look what he said again. If then their uncircumcised heart be humbled, we must humble ourselves. And they then accept of the punishment of their iniquities. We must humble ourselves and accept the punishment of our iniquities, what we have did to our Elohim. Let's go to Jeremiah 23:8. We'll go to Jeremiah 23:8, because the Lord speaks of a gathering of his people, and he's going to gather them. The remnant, he's going to gather them. Let's go to Jeremiah 23:8. He say in Jeremiah 23:8, he say, but the Lord liveth, which brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country, and from all the countries whither I have driven them, and they shall dwell in their own land. He says we are going to dwell in our own land. So I'm going to go back up to Jeremiah chapter 2. I want to start right there. Therefore, thus saith Yahuwah, Elohim of Israel, against the pastors that feed my people, ye have scattered my flock and driven them away, and have not visited them. Behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doing, saith the Lord, and I will gather the remnant of my flock out of all countries, whether I have driven them, and will bring them again to their folds, and they shall be fruitful and increase. See, the Lord is going to bring us back when we humble ourselves and accept of the punishment. He's going to bring us back to our fold, our land, and he's going to protect us because we are up under him. We must be who are the Father. He said he would gather us back, that he's driven us all over the land. So he say, let's go to Ezekiel 34. Let's go to Ezekiel 34. Ezekiel 34. I'm going to start at 15. I'm going to start at 13. He say, and I will Bring them out from the people and gather them from the countries, and will bring them to their own land and feed them upon the mountains of Israel by the rivers and in all the inhabitant places of the country. He want to bring us back to our land. Once we humble ourselves and accept the punishment, he's going to bring us back to our land. He said, from all the countries we had scattered, he's going to bring us back. Ezekiel 37, 14. Same thing. And he said, and shall put my spirit in you, and ye shall live. He's going to put his spirit within us, and we are going to live. And shall place you in your own land. He's bringing us back to our own land. We know this is not our land. The people that's been scattered all over the world, Yahuwah is going to bring us back to our land. Our land. Then shall ye know that I, Yahuwah, have spoken it and performed it, saith Yahuwah. We going to know he did this to us because of our disobedience. We went in captivity because of our disobedience, not because no one was stronger than us. It was our disobedience turned our El against us. So if we're going to walk contrary to our Elohim, he's going to walk contrary to us. We must do what he say do, meaning keep his commandments. Look what he say in 21. And say unto them, thus saith Yahuwah El, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathens. He's going to take us from among the heathens, whether they be gone, and will gather. He's going to gather them on every side and bring them into their own land. He's going to bring us back to our own land. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel. And one king shall be king over them all. And they shall be no more two nations. We're not going to be two nations. We're not going to be not knowing who we are in this time. Neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms anymore at all when we are gathered. We're going to be gathered as a nation of people, back to the 12 tribes of Israel, coming back to our land, going back to Israel. Yahushua going to take us back. He's going to plead with us and take us back. But we must bethink ourselves in the land of our enemies and come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments and pray for forgiveness of ourselves, for our forefathers and our families. We must do this, that we may be reconciled back to our Father. Ezekiel 39. Ezekiel 39. 23. And the heathen shall know that the house of Israel went into captivity for their iniquity, because they trespassed against me. Therefore hid I my face from them, and gave them into the hand of their enemies. So fell they all by the sword. Look what he say. According to their uncleanness and according to their transgressions have I done unto them, and hid my face from them. Therefore thus saith the Lord Elohim, now will I bring again the captivities of Jacob, and have mercy upon the whole house of Israel, and will be jealous for my holy name. He said he's going to let the heathens know, meaning the other nations, why we went into captivity, because of our disobedience. He dealt with us according to our transgressions, and according to our sins he hid his face from us. Like it said in Leviticus 26, if we walk contrary to him, he was going to walk contrary to us. And he said, thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, now will I bring again the captivities of Jacob. He's going to bring us back. Nobody else going to bring us. Just like he freed our people from Egypt, he's going to bring us back from the four corners of this land. There's going to be a great exodus from the four corners of the earth. A great exodus. And he say, 28, then shall they know that I am Yahuwah their Elohim, which caused them to be led into captivity among the heathens. But I have gathered them into their own land, and have left none of them any more there. Neither will I hide my face any more from them, for I have poured out my spirit upon the house of Israel, saith Yahuwah Elohim. He said no more would he hide his face from us if we come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments. If we come back to being obedient, if we humble ourselves in the land of our captivity, he will bring us back to our land. But we must do our part first in the land of our captivity and humble ourselves. Let's go to Jeremiah 16. 16:14, the great Exodus. 16:14. This is what we're going to be saying when we come back to our land. 16:14. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith Yahuwah, that it shall be no more be said, Yahuwah liveth that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But Yahuwah liveth that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, and from all the lands whether he had driven them, and I will bring them again into their own land that I have given unto their fathers. He said he's going to bring us back to our own land that he gave to our fathers. He said, therefore, behold, the days come, saith Yahuwah, that it shall no more be said, Yahuwah liveth that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But Yahuwah liveth that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, from all the lands whither he have driven them. We're going to say, it's going to be a blessing to be taken from amongst our enemies and put back in our own land, according to the scriptures. He's going to gather us and put us in our own land. It's going to be a beautiful thing. It's going to be a beautiful thing. Right now, Israel is in the midst of everybody. They're in the midst of all nations. They thinking they are part of the nations, but they're really Hebrew Israelites from the 12 tribes of Israel. But the Lord has scattered us because of our disobedience. And it's going to remain that way until we humble ourselves and come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments and keep it. I'm gonna read Micah 5:7. Micah 5:7. It say, and the remnant of Jacob shall be in the midst of many people, as the dew from Yahuwah, as the shower upon the grass that tarrieth not for man, nor waiteth for the sons of men. And the remnant of Jacob shall be among the Gentiles, in the midst of many people, as a lion among the beasts of the forest, as a young lion among the flocks of sheep, who, if he go through, both tread down and teareth in pieces, and none can deliver. Israel is among many people. They're scattered all over the earth. They're amongst many nations, amongst all the Gentiles. They are scattered out. They think they are Gentiles, but they are not. They are Israel. Israel, we need to humble ourselves. Come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments. Keep our commandments that our Elohim gave us. Do what Yahuwah told us to do. Be obedient to his laws, statutes, and commandments. He will bring again the captivity of Israel, set us back in our own land. All praises to Yahuwah, and all praises to the Son he has given us to be reconciled back to him through his blood, Yahusha. Shalom, Israel.